Hello, my name is Lindsay. I work with the Northern Panhandle Parents as Teachers program. I also sit on the Brooke Hancock Partners in Prevention team. And when we were discussing topics and videos, I decided that I wanted to tell my story about basically advocating for my son and trusting my gut and following through. My son was born in the morning of July 17th, 2017. He was born a little bit smaller at 6 pounds, 13 ounces than my daughter, who was almost 9 pounds, like 9.5. And I just thought, okay, well, that's fine. Every kid is different. That's fine. When he was born, he actually ingested some of the fluid, so he had to have x-rays, and I did not get to see him until that evening. When I got to see him, the nurses had stated that he was having a hard time eating and keeping it down, but eventually, before we were discharged, he caught on and did good. By the first month appointment with his doctor, I had addressed some of my concerns. His breathing almost was like a squeaky toy, real squeaky, real high-pitched. Didn't really cry, but I thought, that's great. I'm not going to complain about a non-fussy baby. But whenever he ate or had his binky or even just was sleeping, he always made this noise. Concerned me. He was also not getting any bigger or heavier or anything like that. He was okay, but she didn't really like that he wasn't gaining as much as he should. So the pediatrician had actually said it was probably just a floppy esophagus, nothing to really worry about. Before his 2-month appointment, we had changed formulas probably about 5 or 6 times because he wasn't gaining. So by his second month appointment, I had stated that, something's wrong. I want to see a specialist, please. Ear, nose, and throat, something. She said, he's fine. I said, no, he's not. He actually started to stop breathing when he was sleeping. I bought one of beside the beds for him, and in the middle of the night when he would quit breathing, I would be up and kind of rub on his chest, and he would gasp, and he was fine. So by the second month, I was, hey, I can't do this anymore. He's not breathing. She finally contacted the Children's Hospital ENT department and filled out a referral. I constantly called, tried to get a heads up, any kind of information regarding the referral. Finally was given some information. We got an appointment September 26th. It was the first time I've ever been to children, so I was unaware that I probably should have packed an overnight bag or wore more comfortable clothing. Unfortunately, I didn't. Thought, this appointment's just going to be fine. They're going to look. They're going to notice it's a floppy esophagus. We're going to walk out. We'll be fine. They decided to scope him, put a camera tube down his nose and into his throat to see what the problem was. At that point, the doctor decided to get another doctor, and they came in and said, it's not what we thought. There is a mass in his throat. We do not know what it is. We want to admit you right now, do a biopsy in the morning, and then possibly do surgery. As a mother, I was immediately frightened, but in a small way, excited because I knew something was wrong. I knew it. And his pediatrician just pushed it off, thought of me as just one of those crazy moms that thought, oh, something's wrong with my kid. It's nothing. Well, no, it is. My son had a laryngeal cyst. They said that they normally see cases about 2 times a year, but they had the largest size one, my son did, for a 2-month-old. That was the largest size they'd seen. So next morning they came in, said that they were going to take it out and then biopsy it then. So he was in surgery for about, I would say, 2 to 3 hours. Very stressful, but I was just glad. When the doctor came out, explained everything was good, they took everything out. So I was just excited to see my baby. When we got to see him, we were taken to the ICU unit for a couple days and then moved up to a different unit. The next day, they tried to do the cookie test, which is seeing if he can eat anything and be fine. Well, he failed. The pictures that they had showed me was like they cut another hole in his throat. So he had 2 holes, and they stitched it up, but they couldn't stitch it up that great. So that's why he failed. They immediately had to then tube him and do tubal feedings. And I thought, okay, that's fine. I'm glad he's able to eat instead of having an IV. I'm fine with that. We were in the hospital for about 5 days. They did another cookie test. He failed. They were saying that we were going to have to do tubal feedings at home. When we were finally released, we had to do every 2 to 3 hour tubal feedings, where you have a tube and you fill it with the formula, and then the force makes it go down, and then he's fed. His pediatrician, the next appointment that we had, decided to say that he needed a more permanent solution, which is a Mickey button. A Mickey button is something that is surgically put into their GI tract, and that is how you feed them. She automatically had decided that my son was worthy of giving up on, that he was never going to pass a cookie test. He was never going to be able to eat like a normal kid. He was going to have issues, all these things. I again said, no, I'm not doing that. My kid will be able to eat normally. If he's not, then that's when we'll handle the Mickey button situation. But I'm not going to automatically count my kid out. He's going to be able to do this at some point. I'm not going to say no. She again pressed for me to get a Mickey button put in to my son's stomach. At this point, I was pretty well done with that pediatrician, only because she pushed it off until I said, I need this, and then took credit almost for finding this. I was done. So I decided to look up another pediatrician. After me and my husband decided, after he passed his cookie test and everything was fine, we were done. In November is when he had his 3rd cookie test. He passed. We were able to take that tube out as soon as we got home, which my son was very grateful because he hated them. He hated that tube. He's now 2. Perfectly fine. Eats normally. Has no issues. We go for checkups now yearly. At one point we were going every month. Now we go every year just to make sure it's not growing back. There's no issues. And so far the doctor said, knock on wood, everything's fine. I just wanted to tell my story only because as you are the parents of the child, as you are the mother of that child, you have to advocate for your child. Your child can't tell you when it's 2 months old, that something's wrong. Can't tell you that he can't breathe. Can't tell you that it's labor and that it's hard to eat. And I'm just grateful that I did fight for my kid, because if not, I don't think I would have my son, unfortunately. But I wanted to share my story only because there might be a mom out there watching right now saying, something's wrong with my child. I know it. I've addressed it. The pediatrician's not really listening. You have to keep fighting. You have to. And someone will believe you. And then you will get that accomplishment, and then knowing your child's going to be fine, because that person's going to believe you, that person's going to help you, and everything's going to be fine. Like I said, I just hope this helps somebody, and thank you very much for listening.